Mr. Schneider, could you please pull up Exhibit 20 from our exhibits?
20's already in the record. Are you sure you want me to do that?
No, excuse me, 26. Please pull up Exhibit 26 from our exhibits.
Yep, there you go.
One more. Exhibit 26 is another email from Susan Campbell at LNI. Mr. Schneider, could you do me a favor? Could you zoom in just a little bit?
It's about as far as I can go in with it.
Okay, that's fine. It's an email from Susan Campbell to Lene Lean at LNI, to James Nylander at LNI, Gina Mayo at LNI, and Casey Wilkerson at LNI. Mr. Bloise, could you identify this document, please?
Yes, this is a document that I obtained via public disclosure request directly from LNI, and it talks about the Interpreter Services Project and how they would solicit input from stakeholders to analyze the procurement options again in the legislation and to make recommendations to agencies and their executive, and then implement a preferred option.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Schneider, could you please scroll down to page 2? Thank you. Mr. Bloise, on page 2, can you explain the Interpreter Services Project section?
Okay. The interpreter, this is talking about how the services project will solicit input from the stakeholders and analyze their procurement options and make a recommendation to agency executives and to implement a preferred option. I think I was talking about that before, but yes.
You have anything more to add?
No thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Schneider, I would like to offer this exhibit into the official record, please.
Any objection?
No objection.
Mr. Schneider, could you please pull up Exhibit
Hold
30?
on a second.
Sorry, this is the exhibit I indicated I had not objected to initially.
Gotcha. So with that, 26 is received. All right, Mr. Lepe?
Yes. Mr. Schneider, could you please pull up Exhibit 30? Yes. This exhibit is titled Labor and Industries, April 25th, 2019, Industrial Insurance Medical Advisory Committee meeting. Mr. Bloise, can you identify this document?
Yes, this is another document that I obtained via public disclosure request directly from LNI.
Thank you. Mr. Schneider, could you please scroll down to page 2? Thank you.
I would be happy to withdraw our objection if the purpose of this document is to show what Susan Campbell reported at this particular meeting, if that's the purpose of it being offered.
Lepe?
Yeah, thank you. Then we would like to introduce this document to the official record.
All right, if there's no objection, am I hearing that there is no objection from the state or from the Federation?
Not from the state.
Yeah, I don't have any objection.
All right, hearing no objection, Washington Interpreter 3 is received.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Schneider, could we pull up Exhibit 35, please?
35 is a video. I don't really want to play it into the record.
The last.
Hold on, I need to pause this. I looked it up. I think this is the first time I've had anybody try and video during hearings. Pardon my. All right, this is Washington Interpreters. There you go, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Bloise, could you identify this document?
Yes, this is actually, video footage recorded by TV Washington from the legislative session. And this is testimony of Dennis Eagle from the Washington Federation of State Employees during the January 20th, 2020 hearing on HB 2691 before the Labor and Workplace Standards Committee of the Washington State House of Representatives.
Thank you. How did you obtain this video, Mr. Bloise?
I downloaded it directly from the TVW website, directly from their video footage from the legislature.
Upon whose behalf was Mr. Eagle testifying?
He was testifying on behalf of Washington Federation of State Employees.
Did anyone not affiliated with the Washington Federation of State Employees or Interpreters United testify on HB 2691 during this hearing?
No.
Were any comments made during the course of the hearing that indicated adoption of HB 2691 would not permit language access providers to bargain over the scheduling assignment of appointments?
Absolutely not.
Is there anything else you'd like to add about this exhibit?
Yes. Need to think about it for a few seconds because I want to say it correctly. One of the arguments that the state has presented is that bargaining over the scheduling system, so the scheduling system is not subject to bargaining. So this testimony shows Mr. Eagle lobbying for this bill to actually allow interpreters and WFSE and all agencies that procure interpreters to allow the union the right to bargain over working conditions and other economic matters. And economic matters means the distribution of appointments and working conditions related to the scheduling system. And I think this is why it's relevant to our evidence.
Thank you. Mr. Schneider would like to offer this exhibit into the official record, please.
Any objection?
Yes,
Yeah.
I object.
Go ahead.
Okay. So who's going first?
Ed can go first.
All right, well, first of all, I'm not going to agree with the representation of what the video shows, but there's been no showing that this hearing is relevant to these proceedings today. This is a hearing from back in 20, I believe it is. I'm sorry, I don't understand the relevance to the allegation in the unfair labor practice that L&I made a change in employees' working conditions.
All right. And Ms. Wolf, Ms. Nate?
And in addition to that, whether a matter is subject to bargaining is a legal issue, and whatever is indicated in this video has no relevance to this hearing or to that particular issue in terms of a decision being made about whether a subject is or is not subject to bargaining.
All right. You're going to, I was hoping to avoid doing this, but I need to watch the video before I roll on it. So I'm going to mute so you folks don't have to sit through listening to it, but it's not long, it's 2 minutes, so just give me.
So I'm sorry, but I'm going to object. I mean, PERC is allowing Mr. Bloise to record these proceedings, and now you're going to play a video that he wants played.
No, I'm not, I'm muting so it doesn't play into the record.
Visually, it'll be there, I guess. Unless
Okay. Fair point, Mr. Younglove, I can make that stop if you want. There.
Okay.
That address your objection?
Yes, thank you.
All right, give me a minute. All right, I'm gonna overrule the objections. I'll admit it. Perhaps it goes to, the legislative history behind the passage of 2691 that appears to have amended the scope of whatever the bargaining law is that covering providing collective bargaining rights to L&I language access providers. So with that, 35 is received. All right, Mr. Lepe.
So I do, Anastasio.
Let's go off the record. All right, after brief technical difficulties, looks like Mr. Lepe is back. Mr. Lepe, I've just admitted Washington Interpreters 35. Or Mr. Lepe, I understand you wanted me to pull up Washington Interpreters 36, which I have done. It is now on the screen. Everybody should see it.
Okay, Mr. Bloise, can you identify this document or this exhibit?
Yes, I can.
One moment. What is it?
This is again video footage from the TV Washington legislature's website, and this is showing, I believe, Alfonso Bautista's testimony during the January 20, 2020, hearing on SB 6207 before the Labor and Commerce Committee of the Washington State Senate. And so the reason why we want to have this video footage into the record, it's because the passage of HB 2691 actually does permit language access providers to bargain over how appointments are assigned, and this was passed into law.
Thank you. How did you obtain this document?
I downloaded it directly from the TV footage, TVW website for the legislature. Yes.
Anything else to add?
No.
Thank you. I would like to offer this exhibit into the official record, please.
All right, before you do that, Ms. Lepe, just so I understand, is this like the Senate bill companion to House Bill 2691?
Sorry, can you repeat that? I couldn't hear you.
Is this Senate Bill 6207, is that just the Senate companion to House Bill 2691?
I can't answer that with full certainty, but I know that there's a companion bill, yes, between the Senate and the House.
All right, any objection to receipt of 36?
Same objection as to relevance.
I object as well. I mean, we have a statute that defines whether the interpreters have bargaining or not, and to what extent.
Right. All right, so,
Mr. Schneider, I have a question for the witness.
yeah, sure.
Well,
I mean, hold on, is it a question,
Regarding this exhibit.
hold on, I'm got to go through the same process and watch the video before I can rule on it. So, all right. So for the same reason that I admitted 35, I'm going to admit 36. And Mr. Young, I'm going to overrule both the state and the Federation's objections. I understand that there is a statute that defines the scope of bargaining for language access providers, but I guess to the extent that the statute's ambiguous, you can rely on factors outside of just the text of the statute, such as legislative history. Maybe this falls into that.
Well, just for the record, if I could, it does not fall within that. Committee testimony is not part of the legislative history.
Okay, well, in any event, I'm going to admit 36, so...
Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Snyder, could you please pull up Exhibit 37?
7's up on the screen.
Thank you. Mr. Bloise, can you identify this exhibit?
This is again video footage recorded by TV Washington of Aida Sanchez Vela's testimony, a WFSE union leader, during the January 20th, 2020 hearing on SB 6207 before the Labor and Commerce Committee of the Washington State Senate.
How did you obtain this exhibit?
I downloaded it directly from the TV Washington's website.
I would like to correct that. I would like to ask, how did you obtain this video?
Okay. I downloaded it directly from the TV Washington's website.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add about this video?
But, you know, it's pretty much the same as the past exhibit, passage of HB 2691 actually does permit language access providers to bargain over how appointments are assigned.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Schneider, I would like to offer this exhibit into the official record, please.
Any objection?
I just renew our objection to the remaining videos.
Yeah, I'd just like a standing objection to.
Right. I understood. Let's expedite this. Okay, so this is 37. Mr. Lepe, are 38, 39, and 40 all the same thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait.
Are they all testimony with respect to either Senate Bill 6207 or House Bill 2691?
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
Are all the remaining videos testimony with respect to Senate Bill 6207 or House Bill 2691?
I'm not sure. I think we would be better off going through them individually.
No, you need to know what your exhibits are. So is it or not?
Well, I don't have access to them right now.
Mr. Bloise?
Yes, they are, and you know, it's testimony from WFSE folks. Sorry, I probably didn't use the right term. WFSE leaders lobbying to allow bargaining conditions over the scheduling system to be a right. And the last video also offers testimony of Senator Rebecca Saldana defining economic matters and identifying it directly as to relating to the right for interpreters to bargain over the scheduling system, meaning the distribution of appointments and working conditions related to it, and this was passed into law. So I believe it is really relevant for us to make our point in our defense today.
Sure. All right, Ms. Wolf and Mr. Younglove, do you want to just handle these as a package?
Yes.
No, I want to go through each of them, and I'm sorry, but again, PERC is allowing this to be recorded. Mr. Bloise is just simply doing this as part of his campaigning. You'll notice he indicated who's involved in these videos. They're not admissible for anything that's at issue in this case. And so, no, we want to object to each one of them.
All right, fair enough. We can do that. All right, so I pulled up, I'm sorry, Mr. Lepe, I understand that you wanted to pull up 27 or 37?
37.
All right, it's up on the screen.
Thank you. Mr.
Okay.
Bloise,
Hold on. Let me go back. We'd already gone through questions for this one, and I think I've probably heard enough about this particular video. I think I've heard objections from both the state and the Federation on that. Is that correct, Mr. Younglove and Ms. Wolf?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
Further back.
my objection, and am I understanding you're going to rule on it without viewing it?
I mean, what I'm hearing is that it's been represented to say the same thing as the previous video. I guess I should probably watch it. All right, I reviewed a sufficient amount of the video to determine that it's arguably relevant, so it's admitted over the objection of the Federation and the state for the reasons previously expressed. Let's move on to the next one.
Mr. Snyder, thank you. Mr. Snyder, can you please pull up Exhibit 38, please?
All right, it's on the screen.
Thank you. Mr. Bloise, can you please identify this exhibit?
This is again video footage recorded by TV Washington of Aida Sanchez Velas's testimony before the February 3rd, 2020 hearing on HB 2691 before the Appropriations Committee of the Washington State House of Representatives.
Thank you. How did you obtain this video?
I downloaded it directly from TV Washington, the TV Washington's website, sorry.
How is this video relevant to the situation?
Once again, this is testimony from this Washington Federation of Employees local union leader lobbying and testifying about how they wanted to pass this law to allow them to bargain over distribution of appointments, which is defined under other economic matters on the bill, and the bill was passed into law, so it's relevant to the case we're presenting today.
Thank you. Mr. Schneider, I would like to offer this exhibit into the official record, please.
Any objection?
It has the same objection as to the other videos.
I have the same objection as well.
Understood. Let me watch it. All right, I've reviewed a sufficient amount of the video to determine that I believe it is arguably relevant. I will admit Washington Interpreters Exhibit 38.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. Could you please pull up Exhibit 39?
On the screen.
Mr. Bloise, could you identify this exhibit?
This is video footage recorded by TV Washington of Senator Rebecca Saldana's comments on HB 2691 during the February 24th, 2020 meeting of the Labor and Commerce Committee of the Washington State Senate.
Mr. Bloise, how did you obtain this video?
I obtained it directly from the TV Washington's website. I downloaded it from their website.
Thank you. Mr. Bloise, who sponsored SB 6207, the Senate Companion Bill HB 2691?
It was sponsored by Senator Rebecca Saldana.
Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
This is another example that shows how this testimony talks about how passage of the bill, which was passed into law, permits language access providers to bargain over how appointments are assigned or distributed, especially through a scheduling system.
Mr. Schneider, I would like to offer this exhibit into the official record, please.
Any objection?
Same objection.
May I have order here?
Yeah, sure.
Was that bill the enacted law?
Mr. Bloise?
I believe it was enacted into law.
Do you believe it was, or do you know it was?
It was.
I object on the same grounds as previous.
All right, gotta watch it. All right, I've watched the video, and in my review, I guess I've determined that for the reasons previously articulated, it could arguably be relevant. So, Washington Interpreters Exhibit 39 is received.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. Mr. Schneider, can you please pull up Exhibit 40?
All right, 40 is up on the screen. There you go. There's 40.
Mr. Bloise, can you identify this exhibit?
Yeah, this is again video footage recorded by TV Washington of Senator Rebecca Saldana's comments on HB 2691 during the Washington State Senate floor debate on March 4th, 2020.
Thank you. How did you obtain this video?
I obtained this video because I downloaded it directly from the TV Washington's website, and the relevancy of this video is because it contains testimony again giving validity to the fact that the passage of HB 2691 does permit language access providers to bargain over how appointments are distributed and assigned through the scheduling system.
Thank you. Is there anything else you would like to add?
No, thanks.
Mr. Schneider, I would like to offer this exhibit into the official record, please.
Any objection?
Same objection from the state.
For the Federation?
Sorry, same objection.
Okay, let me watch it. All right, so I've reviewed the video, and for the reasons previously articulated, I believe it could arguably be relevant. I will admit Washington Interpreters Exhibit 40.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. I have no more exhibits.
All right, you have any further questions for your witness?
I do not.